Here we go, week 11 coming up. So obviously the playoffs are around the corner. I know, a little weak. Playoffs around the corner, trade deadlines are almost here. So we got tips and advice to give you. So Dustin, let's start off with some trading tips.
Yeah, just a couple of tips. I know we talked about trades a lot lately, but trade deadline right here. What do? Should you be involved in trade talks, whatnot, blah, blah, blah. But playoff matchups obviously still play a huge key right now. Don't trade just to trade. That's a big one right now. I think a lot of people, will think trade deadline, I got to do a trade. And they'll break something that wasn't broke. So don't do that. But on the flip side of that, don't just sit back and say, my team's terrible, I'm not even going to try. Go down swinging. If you're 3-7 or 4-6, you still have a chance. Go down swinging, get something done. And also, too, know if you should be thinking long-term or short-term. Take a look at your team. If you're in the middle of the pack and you think that you're going to have a good chance at the playoffs, obviously you need to be thinking a little more long-term. But, if you're right there on the bubble of playoffs, you need to be thinking short-term.
And long-term, short-term, you're heading into that. If you only got 2 wins and you're in a keeper league, season's over. Hate to break it to you. You should have been listening to our shows a lot more. You're out. So basically what you want to do is try to find good keeper status based on what your league does. If it's one of the leagues where it's based on the round where they drafted them, you get them at that point or a round higher. Go after some good deals. Trade some of your studs. Get some good deals back. If it's an auction league value where you can keep guys for pennies on the dollar basically, go ahead, trade your studs, get some good back, build for the future. Teams in your league are going to hate it because you're going to do some lopsided deals, it looks like, but you're playing for your team, not the rest of the league. Go ahead and make those deals, make your team a winner the next year.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Fantasy forum question time. The first one comes from Safara, number 3958.
There you go.
Yeah, close enough. Wants to know Andrew Luck at New England or Cam Newton home versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
This one's pretty much a coin flip, but I'm going to use two things to
break the coin flip.
First one, Cam Newton's at home. I like that a little bit more. And so I'm leaning towards Cam Newton without the second part that I'm going to use as to break the coin flip. Use your passing touchdowns, how much they're worth in your league as the tiebreaker here. If it's a 4-point passing touchdown league, I like Cam Newton a little more because he has a better chance of rushing some in. At this point, though, it's pretty close with Andrew Luck because he's been rushing some in as well.
Big boy.
But it's a coin flip. But I'm leaning towards Cam Newton just a little bit in all angles that I look at this one. But they both have great upsides this week. Great problem to have. And it might be time to trade one of those two guys right before the deadline. All right, Ginger Beard 7, because you're going to be struggling with that every week from here on out. Jamal
Charles. Probably trade Luck for more than Newton, by the way.
Probably. Jamal Charles versus Cincinnati or Matt Forte at San Francisco, and this one's from Ginger Beard 7.
Yeah, this one's tough, and we were talking about actually prior to the show, and San Francisco, you can actually run on them. The teams have been running on them a little bit as of late. Steven Jackson had a good game against them, but with that said, they're still the San Francisco 49ers, and Jamal Charles looked pretty good on Monday night. When he gets those touches, he's a very good football player, so hopefully the Chiefs figured it out. They let him touch the ball no matter what the score is, 20 to 25 times. I'm thinking they finally kind of figured this out, so therefore I'm going to have Charles ranked just probably one spot ahead of Forte. So this is another great problem to have. I just wonder who else you got as running backs that this is actually a question. All right, Dustin, from TKKL. L or 1? No, TKK1193. The forum users are killing me. They wants to know, should be starting, oh man, your boy Cobb at Detroit or Marquise Colston at Oakland.
This one's really hard too. I mean,
let's guess who you're going to go with.
Cobb's just been amazing. He's been getting in the end zone. And if your league counts anything for return yards, I think this is a no-brainer Cobb. But it's really hard to pass up on Colston. If you don't get any points for return yards, I'm actually going to go Colston
here. My God.
Because I think Oakland will make it somewhat of a game. I think they'll stay close enough to where the Saints are going to have to keep passing. I think there could be 70 points in that game. So it's hard to pass up on anyone in that game this week that has value. I like Colston just a little bit more. Sorry, Cobb. Yeehaw!
Bet of the week time! Name code Dustin. And the bet of the week, well, first of all, it's going to be Brady versus Carson. And I kind of give you a big hint there. I was going to say, who do you think, who picked what? And of course, Dustin's going with Carson. I'm going with Brady. Dustin, before the show, said, you always like to take my Brady bet, so I'm going to take Carson. What do you think? And of course, I'm going to say yes to this. Aaron Hernandez is going to be back. He's already got Welker there. Lloyd's bound to catch one of those long ones for a touchdown at some point in his life. He's been killing me. But I like Tom Brady, and of course, you still got Gronk. They throw the ball a ton. I know in the red zone, they've given it to Ridley quite a bit. But Brady on any given day can put up 4, even 5 touchdowns. Where I think Carson, who's been playing well on any given day, can still throw 3, 4 picks. I'm going to clearly rank Brady higher, so therefore, I'm taking Tom Brady this week.
I think you should rank Carson higher, and here's why. Brent said it. Yes, Ridley has been getting more involved. Who knows what's going to happen with Brady? I'll tell you what's going to happen with Palmer, though. He's going to throw the ball 50-plus times. They're going to be trying to keep up with the Saints. I think there could easily be 70-plus points in this game. I think it's really hard to pass up on any skill player in this game. I think Palmer's got to be in your starting lineups. And yes, I have this very scenario in one of my leagues.
And last time we did this, who won the bet? It was me. I'm just going to try to tell you again. Don't do it. Getting cute.
Obviously, Brady's safer.
Getting cute.
But Palmer, he's a top 10 quarterback this year. And no love. Let's get into my sleeper.
By the way, I won last week. Again.
By 0.2 points.
Running away with this.
Darius Hayward-Bay. Just everything I said about Palmer, put that right on Hayward-Bay. He's been great for them. 4 straight good games for him. Saints, terrible at D. And I think Oakland is going to do a good enough job of keeping that game just a shootout. I like that. I like that game all around. My bust, Pittsburgh's wide receivers. I don't know if you saw Leftwich play on Monday night, but I swear it takes the guy like 2 seconds to throw the ball. He did throw a couple balls deep, but I'm staying away from Mike Wallace. If Antonio Brown's back, I'm probably staying away from him, and obviously Kotchery and Sanders. I'm staying away from all those guys if you can help it. Not liking Pittsburgh. And they got Baltimore this week, too. So,
Leftwich, the Bill Cartwright of passing. All you young bucks probably don't even know who Bill Cart is, but they have a similar motion. Cartwright plays basketball. But let me get into my sleepers and busts. And my sleeper, if you got one of the 15,000 quarterbacks that had a concussion last week, or you got Eli on a bye, you're scrambling, look at the wire. Mike's got a sleeper quarterback, and I actually like this guy more than Mike's guy, though, and that's Sam Bradford. The former #1 overall pick, when he gets time, he's a really good quarterback. And he hasn't really had any of his weapons, but Danny Amendola, my boy's back, and that really helps him across the board. He looked great last week, so did Amendola. I like him not to be standing a lot upright because the Jets aren't, their defense isn't what it used to be. Reeves not being there really, really hurts them. I like Bradford to have a solid, not a stellar, but a solid game. And then my bust is going to be Rashard Jennings. My God, did he look awful against a terrible, terrible, terrible Indy run defense. This guy, there's no holes, there's no cut, no explosion. Maurice Jones-Drew is earning all of his money by even being out. You know that you need him. So I don't like him against Houston, which is an awesome run defense. Best run defense, in my opinion, in the NFL.
All right, let's move into Mike's picks. Like Brent said, his sleeper's a quarterback. It's Foles for Philly. The rookie's probably going to get a chance to start. Vic was already on the hot seat as far as potentially Foles going in and taking over that job. So I really think they're going to give Foles a chance to start. Playing the Skins, nice matchup for him.
They're terrible.
And his bust is Flacco going up against the Steelers. The Steelers' D has been okay this year, but they've been tough against quarterbacks, giving up the second fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks this year. Definitely look at that Baltimore-Pittsburgh game as maybe a low-scoring game. So Flacco, big Week 10, probably not as big of a Week 11. So that'll be our show. We are not going to be around next week. We are going to be out of town doing family stuff for Thanksgiving, so we will not be around the studio, but all of the stuff as far as our posts and everything will be up on the site, waiver wire and all that good jazz, and we will be in the forums. But
Bill Cartwright. It was that ugly. You missed.
You missed.